Hello and welcome back to Manifest Mindset with Affirm of Form Attract. How are you all doing? It has been a whole month since I last posted. I do apologize. I didn't plan to set up to be this inconsistent. It's just that my plates just seem really kind of platey at the moment. Anywho, I'm back. I got a couple of hours before I'm off to work. And I thought, let me just quickly do a podcast because I've got ideas down and I write them down to what I'm going to talk about. And I just need to get on with it. So anyway, how are you all doing? Hope you're fine. How's your manifesting journey going? Okay, I'm going to pause it right here because my cat wants to leave my room. I apologize about that. Today we are going to be talking about when thoughts become things. I know that those of us who are not new and we believe in manifestation, affirming, all the rest of it, we either sometimes struggle with that statement. Those people who don't really know much about it just think it's just a load of rubbish. No matter where you are on the thoughts become things, just look around you and look at people's lives, including your own. And the evidence of thoughts become things is where you are. Now, some people may say, well, I don't want to be broke or in a job that I don't like or in a bad relationship. I dream about having a better job or more money or winning the lottery, whatever it is, but here I am. And there's two kind of thoughts. There's the thoughts or the dreams that you want and the thoughts that you meditate on daily without you probably even really realizing it. So you would give, I really want a new job, I want more money, I want to be in a better relationship, or I want a relationship. And they tend to be just whimsical thoughts of just fancy. Thoughts that you would like to happen, but you can't really see it happening, or even a doorway or where it can begin to happen. But your dominant thoughts are like, I hate my job. I even hate my life. I don't like the relationship I'm in. I don't like myself. I don't like what I look. And we express those thoughts in all different ways. Something happens, we go straight to a negative thought. Why does this always happen to me? I'm so unlucky. So if you imagine that you don't like where you are in life and something happens to you, you may not necessarily say, I don't like my job at that moment, but you can just say, I hate my life. My life sucks. And because you don't like your job or relationship or wherever it is that you are, and then you just add more negative words to it, it's going to amplify the dominant thought that you already have that is consistently in your brain, which is whatever it is that's bothering you. Whereas the wishful thinking is just like, I want to be rich, I want to win the lottery, I want a better relationship, or I want my relationship to improve. And you say it and you think it, but you don't believe it can happen or it will happen. So what happens is your life would then start to dictate to how you think. Just because you want something, and you keep saying that you want something, it doesn't mean you are going to get it. Say if there's something is a positive thing, a new job, relationship, new car, home. Because if you think that, but the majority of your thoughts that you don't believe you're worthy, you don't believe you're capable, then you will start to lead the life of your dominant thought. Now I'm going to explain more in how your thoughts become things in the actions that we do. So I'm going to tell you a little story, and through the story I hope you understand. Okay. A few years ago, I was a certain dress size, 14, 16-ish UK size. And for some reason, I do not know why, I kept saying to myself, if I do not watch out, I am going to be a size 20. Now, you might have heard me tell this story before. Sorry if you've come across this story again, but it's a good reminder. And I was active. I worked with my dad at the time, doing painting and decorating. So my job was pretty active. Not every single day was active because it depended on the job that I was doing. I had a fairly active life. I didn't really always go out and physically did exercise like in a gym or an aerobics thing or whatever. But apart from that, I was active. Yeah, my food wasn't great in a sense of I wasn't on a diet. I wasn't really watching what I eat too tough, even though I would be mindful of what I eat. I wasn't necessarily watching what I eat. And I think I kept telling myself that because I felt myself and saw myself putting on weight. Not much, but little by little. So I just kept saying, if I do not watch out, I'm going to be a size 20. If I don't watch out, I'm going to be a size 20. And lo and behold, a year, 2 years later, I don't know how long it has been, I went from a size 14, 16 to a size 20 UK size. And when I got there, I was like, how did I get there? Like, how did this even happen? And I'm thinking about the type of food I eat, and I'm like, yeah, I don't eat great, but I don't eat so bad that I should be a size 20. I'm active. If the job is local when I'm working with my dad, I always, 9 times out of 10, I will walk to the job and walk back home, so I just didn't understand it. I didn't get it at all. And I was just like her. I was confused. And I remember me and my friends were talking about weight and stuff like that. And she said to me, yeah, when you keep saying that, she was just speaking, girl, you need to stop saying that because you're just going to end up being that size. And I ended up being that size. And I was just like really trying to figure out how I got there. Now, if you're someone who likes to hear people's success stories, you might have gone on YouTube and you might have heard about success stories when people change their appearance. So you got people like, oh my gosh, I wish my nose was smaller, I wish my nose was smaller, I wish my nose was smaller, I got a smaller nose, I love my small nose, whatever it is that they're doing. And they'll say the success stories, they've been saying it, they were affirming it. And, week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, people are saying, oh, your nose looks smaller, or this looks happening. So people were noticing the change. Okay? No surgery, no nothing. It happens, right? So, this is what I'm going to explain to you. There's 2 ways that your thoughts can become things. There's the way where some people find it very hard to believe, which, if you can't get your head around it, you can't get your head around it. Where you can actively just say something or think something and it will slowly, without you doing anything much, will start to change that way. Okay? You will just start to see changes. Your hair's longer, shorter, your certain facial features, whatever it is, it just slowly becomes to change. There's many people out there who do believe that we can heal ourselves. You've seen where, I don't know if you've seen, I can't remember what it's called, where people have spoken to water, positive words, they put it in the freezer, they form crystals and they look in a certain way. When they spoke negative words, put it in the freezer, they form crystals formed in another way. Yeah. And so it's a bit like remember Ghostbusters, the first Ghostbusters, when they did positive stimulation and the bubbly thing acted, and when it was negative it acted in another certain way. And a lot of people, including myself, do believe this, when you're positive, think about it, when you listen to music that's happy and it feels good music, you can feel a nice upliftingness about your whole being and your atmosphere. And when music is a bit dark and very you just feel like there's a burden or a heavy weight on your shoulders pushing you down, all this energy and vibrations, it's real, anyway. So that's number 1. You've got ones where things will start to change, right, without you even doing anything. And there's number 2, when you keep saying something, like I was saying, if I don't watch out, I'm going to become a size 20, is when habits, physical right now, so actionable habits will start to form. My takeaway increased a little bit more. My alcohol intake increased a little bit more. My snack intake increased a little bit more. Now, because these things were gradual, they were kind of, I noticed but not noticed, because it was so small, the increase. It was just like nothing. But your small increases, when you kind of notice, maybe not notice them, you just think the intake is kind of still the same and not gone up by much, so you don't really pay attention to it, because it wasn't like all of a sudden I was eating takeaway 4 times a week. I was eating 6 bags, because it wasn't anything like massively evident. Yeah, it was very subtle changes. And so what happens when thoughts become things is that you just, let's put aside the things that just kind of happen on its own without you doing anything. You will start to pick up habits or do things which will give you your belief system, or the belief system that you want to do. Okay, so in my case, it could have been both, because even with the increase of my food and stuff, I'm like, yeah, but I'm still walking to work. Sometimes my job's really physical. That should have like at least helped try and burn it off. Yes, you got things like my age and all the rest of it, but it was just like, huh? I was like, but my food hasn't increased that much. My that much. I was telling myself it's not that much. So that's why I believe it was a combination of I didn't have to do anything to get to a size 20. Plus, I also kind of talked myself into doing things to ensure that I get to a size 20. So if you're someone out there struggling about, I don't believe that thoughts become things. It isn't some kind of magical thing that you just turn around and you want 5,000, there it is in your bank account. Has that happened to people? Yeah, people talk stories, a check came in the door, or they visited a relative and a relative gifted them, or they end up getting £5,000 worth of work on their business. Whatever it is, these things happen. Okay, and then there's the things where you actively make it happen. You want to become, say for example, you are some kind of engineer or some kind, and you're really good at the job, but you really want to be the best at your job. And if you tell yourself, I really want to be the best in my job, I want to be the best in the job, so you might find yourself, you might do this anyway, but then you might find yourself doing more homework, doing more research, doing more workshops, maybe taking more courses. And what happens is sometimes we do things that seem natural for us to do. It's like, well, why wouldn't I do it? And because you're not thinking about it, it just seems like the natural course of things. So then when you turn around, you're like, oh my gosh, you're number one in your field, or people are wanting to hire you because you're so good. And what has happened, you wanted it, and because you wanted it, you kept telling yourself you wanted it, not in a negative way, like, oh God, I really wish I was really good at this. You're not saying it that said, yeah, you know what, I really want to improve my skills. I want to become a better engineer. I want to become a better painter. I want to become a better whatever. And then gradually things will start seeping into your life. A book, a course, or something will happen, a conversation, and then you will just take these steps. And so then what happens at the end of it, you end up becoming what you wanted to become. But what happens is sometimes, because you didn't turn around and tap your hands on your head 3 times and voila, you was just in that position. People forget that, well, it was your thoughts that got you there because you wanted it. You didn't put pressure on yourself. You wasn't negative about yourself. It was just like, you know what, I really would like to be number 1 in my field, or I really like to be in the top 10 of my field, or whatever it is. I really like to be a really good artist. I really like to be an improved singer. And once you focus on this is what you want to become, no pressure, you don't push yourself, you're not making yourself go broke, you're not doing foolishness, things will start to happen, and you yourself will then go and just start doing things and not really on a major conscious level realizing it until you look back that you was taking steps to do it. So your thoughts will become things, because your thoughts will then guide us. Okay, so this person wants to do this. Okay, oh look, here's an advert for this. Oh look, here's a commercial for that. Oh look, here's a group for this. Oh look, things will start coming in, and then you will just end up just get into that place. So before I end this talk, I'm going to give you another perspective. When you are going about your daily life and you just have these thoughts in your head, and that you look back and you think, gosh, when I was in my 20s, or I used to think this way, or when I was in my 30s I used to do this, and then you're now the age you are, whether it's a couple of years later or 10 years later, And then you just look back and you just say, oh gosh, I'm just, and your life isn't for the better. And sometimes, if you can, try and check back into how you was thinking. We know that life situations can throw you a curveball, and that can spark off the your change of thoughts, or how you think about yourself and how you think about your life. I've been there where I just used to think, gosh, I never thought I would get to a mindset in a certain place, because I never used to think like this before. I was always quite positive, always focus forward, always just like that kind of thing. And you don't realize that life, no matter how subtle or big it is, can throw you these mental curveballs where you're changing your thoughts on life itself, which includes you. And then you end up going down a path that you didn't maybe see yourself going, or didn't want to go by, but because you've changed how you think, you are now where you don't want to be. Like, if I was to sometimes look back 15 years ago, I wasn't any richer, I wasn't in a certain way, but I was in a better place mentally. And when I think back, I'm like, okay, that's because I was forward thinking, I was hopeful, I was this, I was that. Whereas now, those type of thoughts I used to think, which was holding me up and probably could have get me to a place that I want to be, because I've changed the way I was thinking, it's now led me down another path where it's not where I want to be on how I think or anything else. Because it felt like a natural, gradual way of thinking. Life throws you a curveball, you start thinking a certain way, you spend your time to be more positive, or sometimes you're kind of like spiraling slowly and subtly down a path that you do not want to go down. So this is another way of looking at how thoughts become things. Okay, so get it out of your head that, oh yeah, I want to be rich, I got money in my bank account, I got thousands of pounds in my bank, I got £1,000 in my bank account. If you can't comprehend that when you do that, and then the check will come through a door, you might decide to just, something will lead you to go to the shop and play the lottery or something like that, then look at it in a sense of, well, what actions were you doing? How was you thinking yesterday in comparison today? How was you thinking 5 years ago? So I know people say don't always look at the past, but sometimes just to see where you're going in the future, and or even how you got to where you are, you have to look back and see if there's any obvious signs that you can see and tell, actually, do you know, when this event happened, I started to think differently, and I'd never really kind of got back to thinking in a better way, just gradually. And then you kind of like know how you got there, and then once you know how you got, it's like, okay, you know what, then I need to kind of reverse that and start saying, no, you know what, and start changing the way you think. Anyway, guys, I hope you found this message and this podcast helpful to you. If you did, share it, leave a comment, what else to do? Like it, whatever, share on social medias. Anyway, thank you for listening. For affirmation videos, check out the YouTube channel Affirm, Form, Attract, and I shall catch you later.